How you doing, Francis? You right, mate?
I'm doing well, thanks. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming on. Have you ever been on a podcast before?
No, this is my first time, and it's a very professional setup that you've got going on.
I had to thank Chris and JP for setting this all up, really. This is just making use of the TV studio that they've got already at Thornley.
They got some brilliant equipment.
Yeah. How's your weekend going so far?
It's been good. I've been catching up on life, doing day-to-day jobs. Did my food shop yesterday, get my life back on track. Tidied the house as well, deep clean, so feeling good.
Yeah, have you got rid of that sofa yet?
No, it's still there, but it's not. I mean, if I could get rid of it myself, I would, but it is huge. So, yeah, just waiting on that landlord to up his game and message me back. So, yeah, we'll see. It'll probably still be there in a month. So,
Oh. God,
it's okay. We're just practicing.
Yeah, we're just practicing.
We're not live.
No, not live at all, are we?
I hope not. Maybe this is live. Are you live streaming this?
No,
it's
no,
going
God, I
straight
wouldn't do
onto
that.
Facebook Live.
No.
All the mums are sending hearts.
All the single
right now.
mums and,
They're like, whoa, who's their cute podcast host?
Overhead
Never
Nexus.
seen him before.
Yeah.
What about you? What's your weekend been like?
So, yesterday saw my grandparents. That was quite nice to see them. Very close with them too. Went to church today for the Remembrance service.
Yes.
So that's quite nice. And then obviously doing this now, and then after that calling some friends to hopefully organise a holiday.
Oh, a holiday where? Any ideas?
Potentially Dublin,
Okay,
Ireland.
yeah.
That'd be quite nice. I'd like to see some of the cathedrals over there
Mm.
and try and convince my mates to come along as well. So.
I went to Ireland last year, but I couldn't tell you whereabouts. But it was pretty nice. It was really rainy, but also really hot. So prepare for both. It's not the most enjoyable weather. But
No, I'm looking to go in early January, so I'm expected to be quite cold.
Yeah,
That's
fair.
type
They
of
have
year.
a castle. When I find out, when I look back and see where I went, we went to a cool castle. So
Oh, nice.
would recommend.
Who did you say you went with?
I didn't because it was my ex's family. But yeah, no, it was a good time.
Oh, good.
Yeah, very cool. Sounds like we both had really fun weekends.
Yeah. How you finding it being our third week of work we've just finished?
It's been good. I'm glad this week was really busy, like having more to do. JP and Chris are like, don't worry, it'll get worse. It'll get really busy. But I'm kind of wanting it to be more busy and better. So
Yeah, I feel like we've got hands on things anyway, really, because when he says it gets busy, it's not particularly that busy. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it could be like every 5 minutes sort of thing. But
I mean, we could look back on this and go, God, we were so naive. And actually,
every
it's
20 minutes
hell.
is something.
But I'm looking forward to doing the lighting for the students, like shows and helping them do stuff. It's just like getting to use all the equipment and things. Sitting around waiting for things to break isn't exactly the most enjoyable job. So I'm glad there's a lot around for different things that we can get involved with.
Well, you're really good at the lighting stuff. You're a very good teacher
Thank you.
as well.
Very kind.
How did you get into it?
It was, I've always been interested in tech, and when I was in secondary school and college, I was on the other side, so I was on stage performing, and I had a few friends that were doing the tech. Sorry.
Okay.
But when I joined in first year, when it was the T3 shows that drama do, I wasn't keen on getting involved in auditioning, so I thought, you know what, I'll do the tech. So I emailed JP, and then I went to some session where he taught the basics, and then I went on to do some lighting for a few student shows. And then really it all just stemmed from there. I enjoyed doing it. I didn't actually think that that's where I'd want to end up getting into. To be honest, most of the 3 years at uni, I had no clue what I was going to do after. But yeah, it's just so happened this way. I mean, third year I did a load of shows and just got more practice. So yeah, that's how I got into it, just kind of self-learning really. And once you get the hang of it, it's like coding. Once you can read the language, it becomes easier. So same with the lighting. Once you know like what it can do and how to do it, you can do quite a lot with it. So yeah.
What's been your favourite show that you've done out of the 3 years that you have been doing it?
Definitely the one I took to Edinburgh Fringe with the Teeth Society show. It was called 6 Feet Under, written by Jack Barry. Shout out, Mr. Jack Barry. Yeah, no, that was definitely a highlight because it was the most intense, like tech-heavy job I'd worked on, and also the experience of going to Edinburgh, and just doing the flyering out on the mile, trying to get people to come to the show, and then it was just a really good group experience, and getting to. Well, it wasn't just lighting for that as well. I got to make sound effects in the sound studios here. I just had a lot of like designing and things to do, so that was very entertaining.
It's a very good show. I've actually got to watch it,
you did watch it,
and I
didn't you?
really enjoyed
Yeah.
it. It was in the M&D room.
Yes.
They showed it all the. What's it called now? The theatre, right?
Yeah,
They've renamed that in the last year.
I really don't know what
Uni.
M&D was. It music and dance?
Yes, music and dance or music and drama. One of the two.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good room though for that sort of thing.
It's perfect. Yeah, we got a good crowd during that because we showed a few different shows, lots of different student written work. But that was, that weekend that we did that performance was way more hectic than Edinburgh Fringe as a whole, personally for me, because I had to do all the tech for all the shows, rig all the lighting and patch it all, which was stuff I hadn't done before. When I was asked in the interview for the role, oh, do you know how to do this? I was like, yeah, I know how to do that. I had no clue. So I emailed JP and was like, can you show me how to patch lights and rig them? And this was like 5 days before having to do it. It turned out all well. And I think it got in about 8 o'clock on the Saturday before the Sunday where we were performing. Didn't leave till like 11 o'clock at night, making sure that everything was all set up for the next day. But it's my first time experiencing all aspects of setting up. So, it was good fun.
Was it the Jawbreaker Festival? That's
Yes,
what it's
that
called,
was the
right?
name. Yeah, there were some really good performances from, some of the student written work was just, really good.
Because I also watched, I believe it's Made in Dagenham.
Oh,
Because
yes.
Ben Dunkley and Tom Langley, I'm sure you know their names. They were like lighting and sound
Oh, were they?
for the theatre production
I've got
stuff.
to say, I never got involved in X Tech, so I don't actually know the names of any other tech people at the uni. I just kind of rogue lone person doing it.
We did a good job by yourself, if
Thank
that's
you.
the case.
I appreciate it. I think they have a lot more experience because they got to do the musicals and things like that. Whereas Teeth shows are, I would say, more basic, but require less, flashing lights and things like that.
Because they're not musicals as well, isn't it?
Exactly.
That's why
You've got to add that element to it, get the lighting to match with the songs. But yes, Made in Dag, I heard that was good. That wasn't a Teeth show though. That was Shotgun, the musical. Musical Society, I think, did that one. So
I couldn't tell you which society done it.
Where
There's
did
so
you-
many of them.
there is
It
a lot
was.
of them.
You can ask where it was shown.
Yeah.
K House.
Okay, yeah. Probably a Shotgun show then. Oh, to be fair, most societies use K House at some point. There's a few coming up, not in K House, I don't think, but Amelie is going to be performed in the Northcott, I think.
Okay.
I could be spouting misinformation, but it's either Northcott or K House. But yeah, there's some good shows coming up. I need to get tickets. But yeah.
Because Midsummer's coming out as well, isn't it, soon? I believe.
Yes, that is coming up soon. I think that's before Christmas. Yes, it is, because we've got to give them props, and that's on the to-do list. And then there's Theatre of Teeth has a show coming up end of November. I know they're doing their fundraiser for raising money for things, so that's coming up soon.
How much do they normally have to raise when it comes to the fundraising side of things?
As much as they can. It's more, it goes back into the society, so if they've spent money on props and costume, I don't know if they have to pay to rent K House because it's a guild performance space, but if they were to perform in like Fringe, they have to spend, I don't know, like a couple of grand maybe just to even be performing, and then you've got to think about accommodation and the show itself, and like we bought, I think we had 5,000 flyers to give out over the week we were at Fringe.
Say that again, how many?
5,000. And I think we definitely handed out most, but obviously you don't get 5,000 people coming to the shows. But yeah, I don't know how much they cost. But again, it's all those sorts of like random little purchases that they've got to fund. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it's quite fun to be a part of, though.
Oh, so good. I would recommend it to anyone. Like, well, because it was my third year, so I mean, I really should have done it in first and second year, but I didn't take up those opportunities. So I'm definitely glad I got involved for my final year. And it was a good end to the uni experience because we graduated in July. We did the Jawbreaker Festival here in May or June, but then I still had August to look forward to when we went to Fringe to do it. So it was nice to elongate the uni experience for a bit longer. Yeah.
And then 2 months later, you're back here,
Yeah,
working full
literally.
time.
I can't leave.
You can't leave Exeter. But do you know what? I like Exeter. I'm happy to be here.
Definitely.
I'm happy I got this job. And,
I'm beyond grateful to have got this job. I mean, if it wasn't for for the third year that I went and did all the different shows, like helping with student assessments, dissertation, like performances, and then the teeth show, I wouldn't have the job. So it's wild how like just those few experiences have gotten me here.
yeah,
As such I just love I don't know, the whole department is just really nice to work in, and the amount of change and like development that can happen.
in such a short space of time as well. Because
Yeah.
it was the tour that was done on Friday, I believe. No, Thursday even. The people that are doing the photography stuff.
Oh yes, yeah.
The some of them that never like knew this sort of thing existed.
Well, yeah, a
and
lot
they're, like
of
so
the other
surprised.
departments, like students, I don't know if I don't feel, well, I feel bad in that, like, there's so much here, like the podcast studio, this, like, TV setup that we've got here.
Sound studio,
Sound
two sound
studios.
studios.
I think even, is there a third one?
I don't think so. Are you?
No.
Because they've got the
I'm
podcast in
thinking of the
Redborough.
podcast as well.
You've got
yeah.
here 1 and 2, and you've got the equipment as well, like the camera equipment that you can use.
Yeah.
Because some people use it obviously for their dissertation and the second year filmmaking module, but some of them also use for like documentaries and stuff outside
there's
of.
so much opportunity
the
to
uni.
do things outside of your like day-to-day modules and work. It is difficult trying to balance your time with your passions with the work that you got to do. But yeah, there's just so much around, especially in this department. And I mean, the theatre lighting that they have in like every studio space, like it's not just we have one dedicated performance room. You can do performance with lighting in 6 different spaces, 7 if you include this one. So I think, yeah, the department's really incredible for that. Yeah.
That's what I think people need to make the most of when they come to uni, is not just their degree and obviously trying to get a high grade, either that being a first or a 2-1,
Yeah.
but also trying to do the extracurricular stuff. I think for me, I've far more enjoyed the society stuff than I ever did my degree, if you know what I mean. And that's not me shitting on my degree, but that's just me being like truthfully honest.
No,
I absolutely love
you do
society.
get a lot more for your personal development outside of the degree. I mean, me personally, I attempted multiple societies over the first 2 years. I did them for a bit, but but then sort of they just never really. I never got too involved in them, and then I always eventually dropped back and focused on the work that I was doing for uni. And even the stuff that, apart from the Theatre of Teeth thing, all the other lighting and tech stuff that I did wasn't for a society, it was just helping out friends. So there's still those opportunities, even if you don't feel like doing society work. But yeah, I'd highly recommend getting involved in X-Tech if you want to end up doing lighting, because that's something I didn't do, but could definitely help. But also, I guess it proves that you don't have to be. The fact that I interviewed for 6 Feet Under, the Teeth show, and still got the role. I think, don't let that hold you back. If it's something that you want to do and you have the knowledge and how to do it, just go for it. Don't feel like you don't have the CV to back you up. You'll learn. And even though I pretended to know what I was doing to get the job, and even though it caused me a lot of stress leading up to that weekend, it paid off, and I learned a lot from it. So
It's worth those 10 years that you knocked off your life, really, for that sort of thing.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, it's worth the sleepless nights, the waking up stressing. Oh my God, what if I don't know how to do that? What if they expect me to know? But yeah, it works out eventually. I can't remember, what's the phrase where you pretend you know what you're doing, but you don't, to get the job? I can't remember.
Fake it to make it.
That's the one. I said to, I think it was JP, I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to do that again. It's terrible advice. It just causes you too much stress. But I stand by it. It worked out. Obviously, it'd be a different story if it didn't. So
Yeah, I don't think you'd be working. You might be working the uni still, but
I don't think I'd have the confidence to do it or to have applied for the job. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm just very happy to be working here in this department and just getting to, even if, I mean, there's plenty of opportunity for us to do creative things, but even if we aren't actively doing something creative at that moment, just assisting with other people's creative, like films or performances, and just getting to have our own input in like suggesting things.
it's a pretty good feeling, isn't it, to be able to help others?
Yeah.
I think it was the other day, there was an issue with someone trying to connect to the Bluetooth speaker in TS1 and 2. These are giant rooms for context that people use for like drama rehearsals, and people do yoga or do some dancing. And it was a very simple issue to fix, sort of thing. But everyone just started thanking you sort of after.
Yes.
You just feel really good about yourself after doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, it's it's surprising how many people lack. I guess it's because it's always been something that I've done, like tech. I've always been the person to help in my family. My gran will come to me, oh, I've got an issue with my iPad or something. And I just thought, oh, that's just what I'm interested about. But coming here and just getting to do similar things, and sometimes the issues are more complex, but just being able to assist, and like if it's causing someone stress, like someone came up to me and they couldn't figure out how to get out of split screen on their iPad and get into the like PowerPoint correctly. That was just a little like simple thing, but then when you've helped them relax and you fix the issue, it's quite rewarding, especially helping students as well. I'm looking forward to the next couple of weeks when people will be coming up to us and asking for help on like teach them how to do the lighting and use the sound and the film equipment and what would be best for what shots they want to do. So there's a lot to do. It's not just that simple like IT job.
Yeah, well, you speaking of helping out the films and stuff, and there's the film that you was director of photography for, which is Norah's film. You did absolutely insane on that, man.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Because even Chris, I believe, was singing your praises, saying it's the best one out of all. And it's right. It was absolutely stunningly shot.
When I look at it, I'm like, oh, I probably would have done that differently now. I think I'm very critical of, because it was in quite a dark room, and the lighting was good, and we got it to a decent level. But if we had more time, I think I would have done it differently. But no, I'm very thankful to the people that think it was a good film, because I really enjoyed doing that as well. That was another thing where I was kind of winging it. I'd never shot a film before. I had all the knowledge, but I didn't have the practical experience. So yeah, I'm grateful to Norah for letting me assist on her film, and brilliant story as well. I really enjoyed shooting it, having the actors that were professional actors. She found, they weren't just students. So
it was 3 priests, right? And then it was
3 older priests and a nun.
And a nun, yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Sorry, there was a nun. There's 5 of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the film called again?
The Lord's Words. I might have got that wrong, and Norah will
comment cursing in French or something.
Yeah, the Lord's Words. It's not the Lord's Prayer, because that is something. I think it's the Lord's Words. It's on YouTube if people want to check it out.
Yeah, I'll make sure to try and plug it on here and send a link or put a link in the group chat
description. Yeah,
description even.
Yeah, no, that was really good fun. And I mean, you did one as well. What was your experience of shooting your film?
It was a really good experience. I think it's probably been my favourite thing I've done for my degree, in terms of modules and like learning or whatever. But man, it was stressful. I mean, Norah can definitely attest to that. When you got such a time constraint even to shoot so much in like a day or something, and after that, that's the only chance you really get. So I remember the church scene that we were filming had like 24 different shots to get through, but obviously you've got to do different takes of this, and that is reorganizing all the cast and crew as well, like several times over, and then I had to step in and act myself, which was painful to look at. You know, when I was editing it, you just sit there thinking, what was I doing?
I think if I was doing it, I'd just turn the volume all the way down so I didn't have to listen to myself.
Well, if you look at my film, there's the part where I'm reading out, you know, the lines and stuff to getting married and stuff. If you actually look closely at the book, you can see I've cut out pieces of what to say because I was so terrible at remembering my lines.
I mean, that's smart. I mean, I'm sure professionals do that if they have a scene reading from a book. You might as well have the lines in them because in theory, it makes it more accurate. So
True, very true.
no, I especially love that scene in your film inside the church. Just having that big venue that you could use as a set looked really, intimidating to get it all right. And how long did you have to use the space for?
We had 6 hours of filming with the extras, but we had 7 hours because you get that extra hour of getting the crew
Yes.
and cast there on set early, so you can set up all the equipment, make sure everyone's dressed, you know what we're going through what's going through in the day, and sort of moving all the equipment and our bags and stuff into the green room and hiding it completely off camera.
Yeah.
But man, I'm so grateful for everyone that took part in that. Like George and Anna, my two leads, they are absolutely fantastic, and I couldn't thank them enough really for what they did for me.
No,
know.
good. Yeah. I mean, how many people did you have involved in? Because it looked like because Norah's film, I think we had about 5 people on the crew and then the 5 actors. But it seems like you had a lot more people involved.
Are you talking about crew or cast or both?
Both, really.
God, I couldn't tell you honestly. Extras, I think 15 to 20 max.
Wild.
That's max though. And then crew, it ranged between 5 and 10 different people sort of thing helping out.
How did you keep, I don't know, if 15 seems like a lot of people to manage at one time, especially if they're all chatting and whatnot. Or were they good?
They were very good,
Nice.
very good. It was the chapel scene where Anna was walking down the aisle sort of thing. And we were trying to get them all to stand up at the same time. And then there was also organising them into their different groups and stuff, because initially it was like a weird gender split, like guys were one side and girls are one side. So you've got to try and mix them up so it looks
Nice.
a little bit less like secondary school sort of thing.
Yes, yeah.
But everyone was fantastic. Like no one really, was a pain in the ass to manage or anything.
How did you find them?
Just people I knew from uni. I literally just I copy and pasted this message to pretty much everyone that I knew from uni, whether that was some XTV, the other societies that I got involved with, or people that I knew from my modules even, and just other friends that are local to the area.
That's really good though. 15 to 20 people is a good turnout for messaging people.
Yes. Especially in second term when it's close to like deadlines and stuff.
All that work. Yeah, I don't miss that part of being at uni. Although I do miss the learning. When I was this weekend, I'm at home and I've got the TV on and I'm like, this is fun. But it also feels like I'm missing something, like that little bit of stress in the back of your mind going, you should really be, researching your essay or writing at least 500 words this evening. I'm still getting used to not having that in the back of my mind.
Do you think it's like a loss of purpose in a way?
I think a little bit. I think I know we're only 3 weeks into working, so still like figuring out that side of life. I definitely want to find a separate purpose, if you know what I mean. Like work is really fun, and we're lucky in that it's a job that is creative, and it's something that we're passionate about, and a lot of people are in dead-end jobs that they don't enjoy.
And it's also that everyone that we work with is absolutely brilliant as well.
That's very true. That's
a very good team.
Yeah, a very nice team. So yeah, when I'm back at home, it's like, just me. I'm not in a house of like 6 other uni students, and people are like, should we go out tonight? It's like, it's getting a bit more just like low key at the moment, but definitely trying to, in the next month, I'll try to figure out what I want to do alongside work.
Yeah, I think I found that in my first week of coming back here, you feel a bit more lonely. I think it's a better way of putting it. It's how I'd put it, because you, like you said, you're so used to sharing with people that or going out all the time sort of thing, and then to come back and be like a bit more routine based, if you know what I mean.
Yes. There's not as much. I guess it's not as much free time working in 9 to 5 or 8 till 4. You're waking up, you're doing your morning routine, you're working, then you come home, you do your evening routine,
and you go to bed.
And you go to bed, and it's the same again. And then at the weekend, you're like, I've got free time, but then I've got to prepare for the next week. So, yeah, it's about figuring that out. But you're living with 5 other people.
Yeah, so 2 people that graduated from Exeter. One graduated in July as well. She did law. Funny enough, I was supposed to have her on the podcast as the first guest, but because the podcast studio actually broke down, that's why we're using this one. This one
I
actually
see.
broke down initially,
Yes.
and then obviously got to get sent out with
Was that-
repairs.
Was that recently, or was it last year before you got the job that you meant to have her on the podcast?
About 2 weeks ago.
Oh, fair. Is that
Yeah.
the one that John was talking about?
What's that?
John, he mentioned that you needed to get the person back on because they're probably looking forward to it.
That's the one.
Yeah.
And the other one, he graduated a year before, and I knew him quite well. I feel like we sort of kept bumping into each other. We'd hang out a couple of times before. It was quite weird realizing that we actually lived together,
Yes.
And then the other people, I've not met one of them yet. She's been away, but the other 2 are just people like middle-aged sort of thing, just working. And they're both really nice as well. So I've been very lucky to find a really good place that's relatively decent price, that includes all the bills and stuff, but also some really lovely people to live
Yeah,
with.
definitely. That was why I was hesitant to get a house share, was that like unknown of like, who are they going to be? But the fact that you somehow knew them was like beyond lucky.
It's very lucky, man.
Very crazy.
lucky.
Do you see a lot of them, or is it like everyone's working, so you don't really see too much of them?
I don't see them that much, to be honest with you. It's like once, I think because I go to bed quite early, and they're sort of coming home, maybe not that like early, but they sort of go straight to their room. I go straight to my room, sort of thing. I just want to chill out, watch some
that's
YouTube or
fair.
something.
Yeah.
I see them on the weekends,
What about the social room, like dining room? Oh no, living room. Is that used much, or is that kind of just a vacant space?
Vacant space at the moment, I would say. I think people do go in it from time to time, but like not that much. I think people after they come from work just want to go home and just chill.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
They want some quiet time. That's fair enough.
Because you have a bit of a fun place to live in, don't you? I feel like I heard you
Oh,
told me
my
several
old
times
flat
waking up
that-
early.
Yeah, the fire alarm has now for the second time woken me up at 2:00 in the morning, which is good fun. As long as it's every 2 weeks, I think I'll take that as a win.
That's not.
It's not a win, is it? Especially as it's always on a weekday, or the only 2 times have been. The first time had the first day of work on that Monday, and then it was Monday night that it woke me up at 2 in the morning. So my second day of work, I was like, oh. And also the first time, I was like, oh, what if there is a fire and I'm on the top floor? What if actually, I don't know, maybe it's broken somehow, and actually a fire is raging underneath me. So for a good hour, I was awake, just smelling the air,
Waiting.
and making sure there was no smoke coming under the door. But yeah, I mean, I can't complain. My flat is really nice, and I really am grateful that the apartment was available at the time that it was for me to move in, and it's definitely gotten a bit more homely now with all my stuff in. In fact, I went to John Lewis yesterday to try and find a kitchen bin, and I was disappointed when they didn't have any, so I'm clearly a middle-aged person right now looking for a kitchen bin. But yeah, what else about my flat? I think there's 6 other flats in my building. Yeah, I can't think of anything.
Have you met any of your like neighbours or anything?
I bumped into them, and I've said hello to a couple of them. And everyone seems quite nice, except the people that keep setting off the fire alarm. Those people I dislike. Not that they know it.
Well, they might be watching this.
That is-
There might be the one person that watches this
That's true. They'll start knocking on my door at 2:00 in the morning.
and just doing it again.
That was the thing. We have one of those, I don't know what it's called, but the bell system that, flat 1, flat 2 on the front door for people to buzz. The other night, I'm pretty sure I woke up to someone just pressing the button at like 2 in the morning again. Unless I was dreaming it. I don't think I was. I just woke up in a daze. I was like, what was that? And then it stopped. I was like, went back to bed. But if that happens, it hasn't happened a lot so far, so maybe we're good. That's a terrible prank to play on someone.
Well, I got my karma for laughing at you the other day. I woke up, I don't know if it was 2:00 in the morning, so not exactly the same sort of thing, but I could hear some drunk women just dragging this oven down Heathertree Road.
An oven?
Yeah, they kept shouting, "Oh God, keep pushing this oven, keep pushing this oven," and all you can hear is like them giggling and laughing really loudly because obviously they're pissed out of their mind sort of thing. But also they're just dragging this oven, and you can just hear that up the road sort of thing.
Did you look out the window to watch, or
No, I
that you just
didn't
picturing
want to.
them like, oh,
I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Am I like having like is this a fever dream?
Maybe it was a dream.
Yeah, maybe it was a really bad dream.
That's arguably worse. How long did it last?
Half an hour.
Half an hour.
Yeah,
They were dragging that oven for half an hour.
I felt bad for the other people that, like, not just my housemates, but people that live on that road as well, because, you know, they're quite loud. Like, if I woke up to that, surely someone else woke up to that as well.
100%. Well, I wonder where they found that oven. I wonder if it was their oven or they just found it on the side of the road. It was like,
They took it back from a night out or something.
like, a free oven? Hell yeah. God, people are funny. Yeah, I don't miss that. Yeah, as much as Freya, our other colleague, is talking about her nights out, I do not miss getting really drunk and having the hangover the next day.
No. I feel like... Did you always drink when you would go out?
If I was going out, I would
Yeah.
drink. I think there was one time that I didn't, and that wasn't fun. So I felt like I needed to at least have had a couple to be able to enjoy the night socially.
Do you think it's like anxiety sort of thing? Or
I think
is
so,
it
especially in the early times when you don't know many people and you're like, oh, I need to like lower my guard so I can talk to people more easily. I definitely would feel like I needed a few drinks to get on that level. But then you wake up the next morning, you're like, oh, I definitely had more than a few and I definitely embarrassed myself. So that anxiety, as my friend Leo introduced me to that word, yeah, I don't miss that because that's an awful feeling. Worrying what you said the night before, it's not fun. But having one pint on a night out, you know.
can't hurt, can it?
No. And when you're just doing it to enjoy it rather than to make yourself more easy to talk to, I think that's an unhealthy way to look at drinking. So having a drink just for a drink is fine.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not coming across as an alcoholic on this podcast.
Yeah, he brings several bottles of vodka to work.
Yeah,
know.
literally. I don't drink water. I drink pure Thatcher's Gold out the can. Joke. That was a joke, by the way. But no. What was I saying?
Yeah, I've got respect for Freya for being able to still go out. I mean, obviously,
Yeah,
it's a joke that sort of stemmed from her going out, which I'm not going to repeat because she would absolutely kill us.
Yeah,
wouldn't
she
really?
would. She would.
But it is quite fun. It's quite funny to see.
I like hearing the stories. And I think, well, New Year's, I think if my friends come down for New Year's, I'll go out and I'll do that. But to go out just in a smaller group, I don't think I could justify. I'd rather go to the pub. And to be honest, most of my third year, I'd rather go to the pub, to be honest.
Yeah. I think what we did for my birthday was actually really good.
Oh, I
you know,
loved
just
it.
the four of us sitting there for giant ass pizza,
It's
screwing us all.
huge.
It was absolutely fun. I actually really enjoyed that. You know, I feel like I prefer that sort of night to a night of just pure clubbing, if you know what I mean.
Yes, 100%. And plus you get to talk more. If you're clubbing, you're just, I mean, personally, I'm not talking to anyone because I can't hear a word they're saying back to me.
Yeah,
I just
it's always quite bad when someone tries, like, you don't even know, like, you've met on the night, tries to have a deep talk with you, like, in the middle of a club, and you're just shouting in your eardrums, and you have no idea what they're saying.
literally, people do that. I just stick a finger in my ear and place it towards them because some people would literally scream in your ear and deafen you. And I'm like, I can't be doing that. Definitely lost a few, not brain cells, but ear cells. That's not a thing.
Is that a thing?
Definitely not. Lost some hearing from nights out. Not from the music,
You're
just from
you're
people
more likely to-
screaming in my ear.
You're more deaf than you were. I think it's a better way of putting it. Maybe.
Yeah, no, definitely.
What was your favourite night out, though? Not as in, like, one specific moment, but, like, what your favourite club and what's your favourite type of music?
I'm going to be that guy that says indie music. There's
Indie
just-
Cavern? Or...
No, not even Cavern. Cavern's too small. And even in Cavern, I mean, I feel out of place. There's some proper indie people in Cavern. So Timepiece, if they play at least one Declan McKenna song, I'll take. But it's always Brazil. So you can't win because that's still the most basic one of the lot. But I think there was one indie night at TP in third term. That was decent. I enjoyed that. But I think graduation was my favourite night. Drama graduated on Tuesday, which was good because drama nights out always happened on a Tuesday. So TP Tuesday would be where we'd go. And yeah, that night was a good night because everybody I knew was there. So yeah, I'd definitely say that was my favourite. Good way to finish going out clubbing. Although I went clubbing when I was at home over the summer. It's not fun. Guildford clubbing.
What's bad about it?
it just feels different. You know, when it's like mostly local, like people that are like college age, like 18 plus. I literally went with my home friends who have all graduated uni. I was just there like, I feel so old. Everyone there felt like a lot younger. I was like, this is just quite uncomfortable. And also the music was pretty poor. They played Ed Sheeran. I don't think it was Castle on a Hill, but it definitely felt out of place. I was like, I miss Exeter clubbing, if anything. But yeah, no, we're all grown up now. We have jobs.
We do.
We got money to save.
Responsibilities, haven't we?
Yeah, we gotta wake up early. I mean, what time do you wake up now?
About it's between 4 and 5 in the morning, sort of thing.
And do you do that without an alarm?
So I set my alarm for 4:30, and sometimes I wake up a bit before just to go to the toilet and then get ready, sort of thing. So
Yeah.
around 4:15, 20 past 4.
Very impressive. I still am struggling. Well, I set my alarm for 7. This week, I'm planning to go to the gym 3 times because I didn't go last week. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I have it in my calendar that I.
You said it on here as well, mate. So
I know, so it's gonna happen.
it's got to happen, man.
It's definitely gonna happen. Just because I said it, it's definitely gonna happen.
No, you got this, man. Are you gonna go in? Did you say you're gonna go in the morning or the afternoon?
I'll go in the morning because there's no point paying more for a gym subscription where you get to go in those busy hours when it's busy. You know, why would I want to pay more for when it's busy when I can pay less? I just force myself to go when it's like empty. So 6:15. I'll be waking up tomorrow. It'll be fine. I'll go.
Are you gonna train?
What am I going to train?
Yeah.
I think I'll go for a run because last week I said I was going to run. Well, the first time I went, I discovered I can run on my twisted ankle now. So untwisted. It's fixed itself. So I'll see how far I can run. And then maybe Wednesday do some upper body, Friday lower body. Who knows?
Yeah,
I
mate.
might even still be in bed at 7:00.
Well, at least you're doing 3 days a week. I think that's still really good to get out there and do something.
Yes, I'm definitely gonna just go. Let's make my life hell for this week, but prove that I can do it, and then I have no excuse never to do it again. So then I can make it a habit.
Well, even you wake up and have a coffee, then go after.
I think that's what I did the one time I did go, and it's nice to know that I can go and even make it home to shower and then get changed and then go out to work again.
Because you live, what you said, like 2 minutes away from
2
Pure
minutes.
German town. Then what?
Let's dox me. Let's,
You know.
Let's
Well,
specifically.
people now got to find out the radar where you live within.
Yeah.
And then you go home, have your shower.
Have a shower. And
Work's like 5-10 minutes away as well, isn't it?
Work.
10-15.
15, I'd say. Depends how quickly I'm walking. I tend to leave at 8:30 anyway, just because I like it. It's one of those jobs where you don't want to go, oh, I'm just going to get there as you have to start. It's one of those jobs where you're like, oh, I'll come in early just because it's quite nice, and then, oh, I'll stay late because, it's also
still good.
quite nice.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Like we keep saying earlier, we're very grateful and very lucky to have found this.
To have a job that you're happy doing, because so many of my friends are like, they're still in their temporary job, where they're like, oh, I'm in my job because I need a job, and then I'll find out what I want to do after. But yeah, I'm just very grateful. It's been good.
I think other people that I know that I graduated with as well, my friends, they're still struggling to find work as well, which is quite
it's
scary, really.
difficult.
Like how many people that I know are sort of in that thing of either they got a part-time job or they just haven't found anything yet.
I have a friend who they've applied to 30 different jobs since they graduated, and have gotten interviews. Sometimes they don't hear back, and it's like, it's crazy. This person has a degree. They're very well qualified, even for just a retail job, and it's still. I mean, one of the stories was the manager took their job way too seriously and just gave an awful interview. So she wouldn't have wanted to work there anyway. But it's like,
How do you what do you mean by an awful interview?
like, he's just really rude and horrible. I think a quote. My friend asked, "Oh, so what's a day in the life like?" And he was like, "Blood, sweat, tears." He took his retail job to the max. I can't say anymore because otherwise I'll give away what
Who it was. Yeah.
and what friend. But yeah, no, it is crazy. I mean, every day I think I'm very lucky to have gotten the job now. But yeah, I mean, my friends. So I took a gap year. So my home friends all graduated the year before me, and I don't think any of them would say they've gotten a job that they're really enjoying at the moment, which sucks. Like, you do your degree, you're doing something that you really enjoy doing most of the time. Especially a lot of my friends, they do creative stuff. But it's just so hard to find a job. But yeah, no. Yeah, we're lucky. That's all I can, yeah. But I guess it's luck and also putting yourself in that position to...
Yeah, you create your own luck, don't you?
Yeah, like if I didn't talk to JP in that first year, he wouldn't have known who I was. But then throughout second and third year, in third year, he sent me an email. It was like, oh, will you do the lighting for this assessment? I was like, oh yeah, sure. I was like, just being in the know of like the people that, you know, hold some weight, you know. Yeah.
JP's a really nice guy as well, you know.
Lovely man.
I'm going to try not too much to kiss his ass, but, you know, he's a lovely guy.
No,
you know.
no, he's good.
I think a lot of my friends as well, who either part of the film course or drama or part of the CDF, the department always big up John and how much
he's
helped
definitely
them.
an Enoch, big name on campus.
Well, he's been here for about 60 years, hasn't he? So
Probably more like 80, I don't know.
yeah, this is the part we rip into him for his age.
No, it's such a good team. I'm very excited for what's in store. Because, I mean, 3 weeks in,
And it's just been non-stop laughing.
hopefully it's all the way up rather than
it can only
peaks.
go up. Yeah, I can see how, actually, what we're saying about being busy, not being too busy, I can see how they sort of struggled last year because, you know, they had the filmmaking module and the creative dissertation at the same time in the second term.
Yeah.
Going on at the same time. And there's only a team of 3 as well, wasn't there?
Yeah.
No, a team of 4 because you had the intern, Lewis,
yes, that's
Chris,
true.
and
Yeah.
JP. But
Yeah,
I can sort of see how they would struggle a little
I can
bit.
see when they were busy how much of a nightmare it could be when there was just the few of them that there was. But I could also see when it was some of the tedious tasks that actually could be done a lot faster with more people. Like there's now 3 of us to do a job that only one person was doing last time. Yeah, it's definitely a lot easier with the team that we've got now. And it's nice that the 3 new people, me, you, Freya, we all have our different
Zones.
zones. You know, when someone comes in and asks about the logic or the sound studio, up Freya gets. When someone's asking about film, up you get. When someone's asking about lighting, up I get. And it's just quite nice. And obviously we'll get to the point where we all know each other's stuff.
But it's good that
It's nice we have our own interests.
carrying our own weight, aren't we, as well? We're not just like leaning on one person completely, if you know what I mean. Unless it is for that certain things.
Yeah. No, it's been really nice.
Do you have many people that, when you graduate, are still here? You know, like second years?
Yeah, I know a few people across drama and film that are still around, so it's nice to just say hello as I'm walking around the department. I have a few friends who did a year abroad last year, so they've come back to do their final year, so they're around. I've got one friend who's graduated, who was my housemate last year, and he's living down here with his girlfriend, so I went to theirs the other weekend, which was lovely. But yeah, it's nice to have people around. I have been thinking, what will it be like if there's nobody around, kind of thing. But I don't know, at that point, I probably have met other people who are around, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah.
It's quite nice though, isn't it, to have that?
To have, people around. And also I'm lucky that my family is only 3 hours away. It's quite a long time on the train, but it's an easy journey to do.
It's not like you have to, leave super early in the morning to get there, if you know what I mean.
Right. I could leave after work on a Friday and get there for the evening and then have the weekend with them and then be back in time for work on Monday.
Do you go back home often, or are you planning to?
I think I will plan to. I don't know if... I might see if I can go home before Christmas, but I also need to figure out my holiday around that Christmas thing, because definitely going to go home for most of it. I think I'll be back down for New Year's, but yeah, just being with family is nice. I just want them to come back down and visit as well, but obviously mum's working, my sister's at uni, so I also need to plan to go up and see her at some point.
Which uni?
Nottingham.
Oh, nice, okay.
So we split off in different directions, home, and then me and Exeter, her up in Nottingham. But yeah, she's having a good time. She's doing nursing, so
Oh wow, that's
Yeah, she's doing a proper
degree,
degree. Yeah.
not a film or drama
And every time I
degree.
say that, my mum's like, "Don't say that about yourself." It's like, well, it's true though. She's doing work placements and looking after babies, and it's like, that is a serious,
That is
serious
very.
job.
Yeah. Is that 5 years or 3 years?
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah, children's nursing, pediatric nursing. Yeah, very impressive. I'm very proud. But yeah, I need to go up and see her before she graduates this year. So yeah, go up and have the uni experience again
With
or
her.
whatnot. Go visit.
Because you've got Rock City, haven't you, in Notts? Because I've been there before.
Yes.
It was the last place I went to clubbing before the COVID lockdowns.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, no way. I haven't actually been. They do gigs there, don't they? They sometimes have.
I couldn't tell you.
I think they have bands there. But yes, I'll see if she's up. She's not much of a clubber, so I'll see if I can convince her to go on a night out. But it probably won't happen. They have some good pizza restaurants there. So, Pizza Punks, I think was the. And I think there's multiple, but that one was nice. Oh, and Mowgli's is a good Indian restaurant.
Mowgli's.
Yeah, I think that's the name. Sponsor this podcast. We'll take some free food. But yeah, no. It's weird getting into everyday life, you know, because uni's different every day. You have different assessments happening.
You don't really have a structured routine per se, do you?
No.
Like you're not like this is 9 to 5 or 8 to 4 or 10 to 6
Yes.
or whatever. Whereas
You're
uni,
always
you have
thinking of something that's going to be happening.
it's quite staggered, isn't it? Really, like because you have different times of the day you need to be in.
Yeah,
You know what I
that, that as well. Different times you have to wake up. Also, things that are on your timetable that you also don't have to wake up for if you don't want to. If it's a 9 o'clock lecture, which I regret not going to every 9 o'clock lecture now.
But you got a first, so I feel like
That's true. I don't regret it for that reason. I regret it for just the experience of being in a lecture. But you know, I'm sure there are reasons why I didn't go to them. I can't remember now, but maybe it was just me being too tired to go in. But if that meant I stayed up late the night before and had, I don't know,
a good night out
a
with your
good night
friends or
out
something.
or yeah, a chat with a friend.
You wouldn't regret it, would you, in the long term?
No, exactly. And I'm still here now, so I'm doing what I'm doing. If I was not doing what I wanted to do, then yeah, I'd have more reason to regret. But yeah, I mean, I'm still at uni, so I could still go to lectures if I really wanted to.
You could write that. Don't you teach a little bit on the lighting side of things, right?
Yes, I've got presentation on Tuesday that will be my first to give in front of a class, which I'm pretty nervous about, I can't lie. Chris, I went in with Chris when he did a demonstration, and little did I know that that was the only time I'd be seeing an example before I'd be thrown in the deep end to then give my own. So I've written a little script. I need to organise some files, sound files, to drag into QLab to show them how that works. Maybe I'll practice in front of the mirror on Tuesday morning before I have to give it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was wondering what you're talking about when you said practicing the mirror, but I realised, yeah,
Practicing my presentation skills.
What is it for? Like, what is their class? Is it a third year dissertation thing, or?
I think it's second year. I don't think it's ensemble acting. I couldn't tell you what the module was. I do have it written down somewhere, but I think it's going to be quite simple. It's for their assessment, so at the end of the year, they'll be controlling each other's lighting and just having a few different lighting states. So, I mean, on Tuesday, it's just about me showing them how to do that and giving them the chance to play around and control the lights, because a lot of people never experienced it before. If you never put yourself in the position, and also a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not very techie, I don't really know, I'll stay away from that. But it would be nice to get them involved and just go, actually, it's not that hard once you've
Giving it a go.
Yeah, got your head around it. I mean, I've tried to teach you some. Would you say it's easier than you thought, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say it's easy enough. I think I need to get back into it a little bit more though when I get my MacBook on Monday, just because you sort of do forget it, if you know what I mean.
Yes, 100%.
But it's always like you look at it at first. Like I always think of this sort of softwares as like when I looked at Premiere Pro for the first time.
Yeah.
Like you sort of like what you overthink it and you think everything is like Chinese or you just some language you don't speak at all. But like it's that thing of giving it a go, and over time you learn how to use all the different tabs and the different languages.
On when in first year, when I first did it, I was like, oh, I picked it up, I got the hang of it. And then going into, I think I spent the whole of second year not doing any lighting or any tech. And then coming into third year, and then he messaged me being like, oh, we do this. I remember being like, oh no, I've forgotten it all. Like, what do I do? So I did some research, but once you get back into it, it's pretty easy to pick up. And that's why this job, I'm happy to be able to just constantly use it, the software, and teach myself new things as a good space to learn, you know. It's not one of those jobs where if you don't know what to do, you're not getting the job kind of thing. Like, I know the basics, so I can teach other people how to do it. And while I'm doing that, I can also then teach myself more things and get to the point where if I wanted to in the future go off and do something else, I can, you know, I have that experience. I know how to use the software in more detail.
Do you see yourself staying here for a couple of years?
Oh, definitely.
Learning?
Yeah. Definitely at least a couple of years. I mean, I still don't know exactly what I want to do. Part of me is like, oh, going into theatre and being like a technician or something for that. But then I'm worried that it would just become quite repetitive. Whereas in a learning environment, by the sounds of it, in a place like this, everything's constantly changing. And there's new things to learn and teach. So
I think a big thing about what I like about this job is the structure that you get from Monday to Friday. You know, the shift patterns is the same sort of thing.
yes. Yeah, especially if I was to work in theatre, there'd be some late
12 hour.
nights and unpredictable shifts. Yeah. I don't know. I'm definitely very happy here in the three weeks that I've been here. Maybe ask me in a year and I'll be like, oh,
I fucking hate it.
hate this job. What the hell? But no, I very highly doubt that will happen. Especially as someone who's been a student for 3 years, I kind of know what to expect. And I've seen JP around, I've seen Chris around. They always seem to be happy with what they're doing, kind of thing. And I mean, the fact that the two people that are managing us have been here for
60 odd years.
6 years between the two of them, or something crazy.
It's what Chris was 99 and JP was 91.
Okay, about 50 years?
What between them?
Yeah.
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 I'd say 50,
this is
50
us
or
demonstrating
60.
our terrible quick maths.
Yeah. This is, which definitely didn't study maths at uni.
Yeah,
did we?
no maths here. But yeah, the fact that they've been here a long time is quite positive, you know. And hearing them talk about developments that will be happening even in summer and maybe longer term is, it's quite exciting.
It's promising, isn't it? It's very promising.
Very promising. The fact that it's constantly changing rather than, you know, if we were sat there and they're like, oh, it's the same all the time, nothing's changing. But the fact is they're constantly trying to keep up with new tech. So I think that's, definitely promising. Yeah. I've got to say, being on a podcast is, I don't know.
Were you nervous? Really nervous at first, or what did you expect?
I think just because I knew it was you, it was like, oh, I won't be too nervous. It's just chatting. But it's also like, am I over-analysing everything I'm saying on this podcast?
Do you overthink quite a lot, or is that?
I used to. I definitely feel like the 3 years at uni have made me more relaxed. I used to be quite an anxious person, but now I'm just like, you know,
Let's get on with it.
It is what it is. Like, it doesn't really matter. Probably won't watch this back because that might be really cringy.
Trust me, once I go through editing and uploading it, I'm never going to look at this episode ever again. You know,
Fair enough.
It's like the short film thing. I edited it, and every time someone asks me to show them that, I'm like, I will show you, but I won't be in the room because I can't hear the same dialogue and the same music tones and everything that I used over and over again.
I guess, is that if you're editing it and you're having to listen to it back to back, I can see that getting a bit tedious. Because in my second year, I did a performance in third term with my friends that I got to direct and perform in. And that is the only performance that I've ever happily watched myself back in because I was really proud of it, to be fair. And it was just a good time. And so I've sat a couple of times. I watched it with my family once and maybe my friends once. And Ashley was okay. I used to hate, absolutely. I think I specifically remember a class in secondary school of drama where we recorded our performances and then we had to watch them back. I think I walked out the room and just didn't want to watch mine. which is fair enough. You don't want to see how bad you actually are.
Like I said, it's that cringy feeling, isn't it?
Yeah,
as well?
but it's also, I don't know if it's because people used to say, "Oh, I hate hearing my own voice," and yes, there's moments that I do hate hearing my own voice, depending on what I'm doing. But as you get older, I guess I've heard my voice more, so I'm more used to it. But it is weird that it sounds completely different in your head than to how
How
it
it actually sounds. Yeah, I feel I sound. For me, I sound more monotone than I think I do. If you know what I mean.
Yes, that's what I think.
I
as well.
get quite a monotone. I have quite a monotone voice when I listen to it, But I think you sort of have to get used to it. Just accept it. Yeah,
You just
you're
have to,
sound,
yeah.
You know,
If you overthink it constantly, then I don't know, you'll always be unhappy. But the fact is, if everybody hates their own voice, then that's okay because everyone else sounds normal to me. So hopefully, I sound normal to everyone else. But yeah, it is a funny thing. Yeah, podcasting was always something that I love listening to them, and there've been times since I think a teenager that I was like, oh, I wonder what it would be like to have a podcast. But then I've always been like, oh, what would I talk about?
theatre. Surely you'd speak to people about your theatre, your passion for that, and lie to them.
Yeah,
You could do like even if it's like an hour long or like short episodes, short format
Yes.
episodes with people that are like part of the societies or JP, because JP would be a good one to talk about because he's been doing it for centuries, hasn't he? So he could sit there and
Thousands
talk
of
to you.
years.
Yeah.
He could go right into the history of theatre.
Well, the very first time I ever got first time it came around.
He was the first actor, actually.
But you could do something like that because that's your
you're
passion,
right.
isn't it?
I think after this experience, I might feel more comfortable. It's the imposter syndrome about it all. I think I've always struggled with that. Same with but also maybe it's my perfectionism. Maybe it's like I don't want to do something because I don't know that it'll be really good.
Yeah.
But also, it doesn't matter. So I'm like stuck in that in between where it's like, oh, you're surely not the right person to be doing this. But also, can you even do it very well? So
yeah, I think for me, it's all about just giving it a go. I get that imposter syndrome really badly. I've even like with this job that we've got or doing the podcast here, overanalyzing everything sort of thing. You just got to realize that you just got to accept it, if you know what I mean. That you're going to think that way, and it's just more about how you react to your thoughts and then what you do with it, if you know what I mean. Like it's like when you go to the gym for the first time, like you're, very anxious and very, scared that everyone's judging you or like watching you what you're doing. Most of the time, I'll say 99% of the time, no one really gives a shit what you're doing.
no one cares. I don't know if it was on a podcast I was listening to or a video or something. It made me feel better about going to the gym for the first time. It's like everybody's in the gym because they want to change something about their bodies. So you don't need to feel like self-conscious about yours because, not in an unhealthy way, but everybody's there to develop and change something because they're not happy with it. They want to be stronger or they want to be, able to run further. So everyone's got their own thing that they're thinking about. So you don't need to stress about what yours is and what people are like thinking about you because at the end of the day, you're all there for the same reason.
Yeah, I also think social media does not help it at all. You get these people on social media that have come across as very negative, will have like very negative experiences with people in the gym, but it's so rare that you have that actually in person. Yeah. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've never had a bad experience. The only reason I'd think I'd have a bad experience is if I got in my head about it and was like, oh my God, everyone's looking at me. Oh no, I don't know how to use this machine properly. What the hell? Or I can only lift a certain amount. People must be thinking, what a weak guy. But at the end of the day, everyone's got other things to think about. It's like when you trip over in the street and you feel stupid. It's like people remember that for a second, but they won't remember that forever.
No, unless you're with one of your mates and stuff, and then if you're with your mates and
then they'll bring it up every 5 minutes. Yeah, that's true.
But I'd rather fall over with my mates than by myself, if you know what I mean, because then you can laugh about it with them, can't you?
Things I've started laughing if I trip by myself. Not that it happens loads, but if I ever find myself like doing something silly, I will laugh to myself, and maybe that makes me look completely stupid. But I like to think that it makes the other people around me feel more comfortable.
They're laughing at you, laughing.
Because it's like, oh, that's silly. Like, oh, it is what it is. It's nothing too serious. Whereas if I got up and looked like really embarrassed, that makes it more of a thing.
You just got to play into it, haven't you, really?
Just completely fall on my face. If I feel myself just
break
falling,
your nose.
Literally, just like break every bone in my body just to, if you're going to fall, you might as well do it properly.
Go all out.
Yeah. Oh, funny. How did we even get on to talk about? Oh, podcasts.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy, isn't it? Like that's what I like about these podcasts is that you can go from one conversation topic and then he just completely changes.
Yes, it's like when we're in the office and we're talking, and then we fall down a circle because Freya's taken it off in some completely crazy direction, and then JP's there like, what was I actually coming into this room to talk about?
But he does that every time he walks into the office.
I feel like I have to get people back on track. I like have a mental note of where we actually were. I was like, oh yeah, you're talking about that. That's funny. Yeah. But yeah, maybe I'll try podcasting. Here I am. But yeah, I don't know.
Have you always wanted to do one? You said.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite mediums of like
Entertainment.
entertainment. Yeah, I listen to them all the time, just doing whatever, walking to work or just around the house. I listen to have a 15-minute timer before I go to bed. The last thing I listen to, but I feel like they're just mostly informative. The ones I listen to are quite like tech news heavy or analytical. Sometimes there's a comedy one or crime. Crime Junkie is it's a podcast that just goes into details about facts about different cases and whether they've been solved or unsolved and things like that. That's probably the only like story-esque podcast I listen to. But yeah, I definitely listen to that more than anything, more than music, more than YouTube, more than like Netflix or whatnot. But yeah. Do you have a favourite podcast?
I would say Joe Rogan's probably my favourite one. I started listening to his one in COVID during lockdown, just as like background noise because we started quite early in the morning at Tesco's during my year out before I came to uni. You start at like 2:00 in the morning sort of thing because how busy COVID was.
Right,
the impact it
yes.
had in our stores. I mean, you did supermarket work as well during COVID, so you
did,
sort of know
yeah.
how busy it got. But I listened to his and him just having conversations with people. It makes you feel like you're actually part of that conversation, if you know what I mean, because
Yes.
it's actually quite informative and quite casual in a way, but it can be quite like formal. It depends on who he's talking to.
Right,
If you know what I mean,
yeah.
it can go from like Kevin Hart to a politician. With each episode is completely different.
Yeah, you get the different styles. You either have the ones where they're like telling you facts and they're just reading out to you kind of thing, or when it is the conversation ones, like the Crime Junkie one, there's like two hosts and you have the one that's telling the story, then you have the one that interrupts and goes, wait, what? Like, and then that they act as like you, and it's like, oh, you're all part of like that story and you're learning stuff. And that I got obsessed with it during Sainsbury's, like on a Sunday shift. I worked when the store closed, so that was my favourite because I could just put in my headphones, go about doing my job, and I'd listen to like 10 episodes of that, like while I was working. It just provides that bit of entertainment, and you don't feel like, oh. The worst thing about working in retail is being stuck with your thoughts for too long if the shop's open. My favourite part was when a customer would ask me a question because at least I could use my brain. But when you're not being able to like use your brain, you're just there. I don't know what I'm thinking about, but just thinking things that you don't really need to think about.
Do you miss working in retail?
I miss the people that I worked with on a Sunday especially. Sunday was like peak shift, especially Sunday COVID, like the amount of fun that I had working there. I think maybe that was just because you couldn't socialize, and so like outside of work, you're isolating at home, but coming into work and being able to actually talk to people was actually quite nice. So
Yeah, because I would say for me, like customer service jobs like such as Tesco's or Sainsbury's, right? It was that customer service teaches you how to speak to people,
oh yeah,
and it was really nice to have that before going to uni. And like you said, everyone's like at home and lockdown and stuff, and they can't really speak to people like face to
it
face.
gives you the confidence to just be able to I don't know, like answer questions or just talk to people, and even if it's like interacting with other staff members that you don't really know, but it's like that whole like teamwork and things like that. I definitely value the time I had at Sainsbury's, but it did get to the point where it's like quite repetitive. In fact, the last 2 times I went back, so I used to work on the like GM, general merchandise department, like all your toys and home accessories and things like that. But then in the last 2 times I went back, I wanted to be on checkouts because I was just like, those shifts would go so much faster. Just helping people when they put the bag down on the self checkout thing and it won't register and whatnot. And like I enjoyed that more because you got to speak to people more, and it's just a bit more like full on. Whereas when you're just unloading box after box onto a shelf, and you're not thinking much, it did get a bit tedious. So yeah, I was very keen on not going back there when I finished uni because I knew they would want me back, and like there'd be a job for me. But I wanted to give it a go at finding my own job, if you know what I mean.
You don't want to fall into the trap that most people do, is they go to uni, come back to an easy job, and then never really go out.
Well, I said that to a couple of my friends who are still, or one that has a job but is thinking of maybe changing. It's like, give yourself like a month or two of like not working, if you can. Obviously, not everyone's in the privileged position to do that, especially if they have to pay rent and things like that. But if you're living at home, just being able to go, actually, I'm going to spend a month not getting the easy job, the one that I know that I have on, like, you know, to get full back to, like Sainsbury's for me, and just go out and try and find something you're passionate about. And it's really hard. There's not enough jobs around for people. But if you're in the position to be able to spend a month looking and applying to creative jobs, and if it doesn't work, then that's fine, take the job. But I knew so many people who went to Sainsbury's and were like, oh yeah, I want to do like graphic design, so outside of work I'm going to be working on that and then apply to different places. But you just get caught up in it, don't you? Once you're in a full-time contract, you don't have that, especially retail. Retail's quite a full-on job, like all the steps that you're doing and physical like labour. So by the time you get home, you don't really have the energy to, you know, put into your passion. So there's the risk of you getting stuck there. So yeah, I don't know. I feel lucky.
I think for me, one of the biggest, most heartbreaking things is seeing people that don't really try, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Obviously, people have excuses if they can't do anything because they've got so much responsibility. You know, you've got kids and mortgages and rent to pay, and you're sort of overwhelmed with debt or whatever. But there's some people that never really try. Do you know what I mean? I think that's a wasted potential.
I think, yeah, I'd agree. But also, I don't know. The trouble is, as you say, it's sometimes not possible for you to try. Like, me giving that advice to my friend was because I knew that they were at home and not having to pay rent, but not everyone is in that position. And also, some people are happy just with the job that they're doing. They'd rather see their job as something that is their day-to-day, like earning the money so that they can then do something else. So maybe that's not what their focus is, maybe. You know, maybe they'd rather live for the weekend or after work rather than doing something during the day that they enjoy doing. But
yeah, I think I feel it more towards the people that just complain all the time and don't do anything about it.
yes, yeah. The amount of people at Sainsbury's who would just spend the day complaining that something wasn't being done right. But it's like, actually, if you're complaining about the job so much, make a step to change something, even if that's just changing something within the job, like making that change rather than complaining about it all the time. But yeah, I don't know, it's difficult, especially once you get to the age, because I mean, we keep saying that we're lucky, but we're still quite young, and so we don't have all that responsibility, like family, like children. I know I'm paying rent at the moment, so if I lost this job, I would have to go and
Get any job
just to be able to manage that. So it is difficult to risk it and make that change. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's above my pay grade to be able to talk about it because
Yeah, we're not in that position, are we?
No.
We're not in their shoes. It's like there's more than meets the eye.
yeah,
If you know what I mean.
100%. You could look at someone and go, oh, well, you're doing that. You have so much potential, but because of the way life works, they're not in the position to be able to use that. So, yeah, got to change the system.
How does that happen?
I don't think it does, to be honest. I don't think you can. Oh no, that's a reductive way to look at it. I think change can be made, but in the state of... Oh no, we're not getting into politics on this podcast.
We can do. If you
we're
want.
not getting into politics.
No, like it's more just about conversation. You know, I'm not going to sit here and criticise your political beliefs, but I think it's natural conversation, isn't it? Really. So if you've got any political beliefs, you're more than welcome to say it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Is it more of a socialist thought, do you think?
Whoa. I don't know. Honestly, couldn't place myself on either side. What about you? I'll
In-
twist the question around to you.
In terms of...
I don't want to talk about politics. I feel like that gets too heavy.
It can do, but I think it's quite interesting though, because some people sort of can get too much into it, if you know what I mean. I feel like that's always my concern and criticism of people with politics, is people get way too into it. There's not enough nuance, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. What was... Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, no, I would say you're right. Yeah, the people that swing really hard one way or really hard the other way and don't allow for a crossover of beliefs, I think are missing out, because if you can find the best of both worlds, then I think you should.
I think for me it's always interesting as well to understand echo chambers and see how it actually happens, because I've definitely fallen into echo chambers a lot during my time at uni, and then to read about it like through books and stuff and realize actually these sort of social medias do that to keep you engaged, sort of thing.
Yes.
If you know what I mean, it's so fascinating. Like,
Well,
it's quite depressing in a way as well, because you sort of mentioned the system thing earlier. It is that system of making as much money as possible without,
Yeah.
actually caring what people actually, how they can become more smarter in their decision making. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's the same. It's that theory of, if you're going to look up something to see if it's true, you'll read the stuff that backs your belief, and you're more likely to believe that than, like, if you read an article that goes against your beliefs, you'll go and find 10 articles that back up yours, even if there's 100 that also disprove. And I think like For You pages on like Instagram and TikTok are kind of similar in that they just inhabit that, and they just show you all the stuff that they know you'll like, because if they start showing you stuff you disagree with,
You're not going to be watching it.
you're not going to click on that app anymore, are you? Yeah, I think social media is the bigger problem in terms of politics.
I also think though it's one of those things that you don't realize how much it affects you until you get older. I remember how I used to use Facebook pretty much, and YouTube pretty much all my childhood, really, and in my young adult life. And then really when I took a break from it during my year out, that I realised how much it actually does have an impact on you.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like in terms of like anxiety and how
Yeah.
you actually think about the world as well. Instead of like, thinking about your own life, you always think about what other people are doing, sort of thing.
Yeah,
You know what I
definitely.
mean?
I mean, there was a time, was it first year? Was it first year when Russia invaded Ukraine?
Yes, towards the end, I believe.
In like was it January? Early in the, like, after Christmas, I think. Anyway, I used to wake up and click on the BBC News app all the time, especially after that happened, and it would be the first thing I looked at, and it made me really depressed and upset, and I just couldn't really. I definitely noticed myself being more stressed out about it.
Do you think you can get drafted? Is that what it was? Or
Yeah, I don't. No, I think it's more the nuclear threat of the world, and because you don't think anything like that will happen, given the nuclear tensions between the superpowers. But anyway, so there was definitely a time where I was like, oh my god, what would happen if it got further, kind of thing. And so then I forced myself to stop clicking on that app every morning, because I just realised that it doesn't help. It can still be happening, but just reading constantly about stuff is just not helpful for your mental health.
no, it's not. You mentioned that one that reminds me of COVID. Checking every single day for what the death count was, or seeing people who was likely to be affected in your local area, sort of thing. If you know what I mean, that was something I checked every day.
There was a lot of information. Was it every day? There was some briefing that would update us on
Death count.
Yeah, I mean, horrific. I mean, you bringing that up, I completely blocked that out of my mind. It's like, I don't know. It's definitely one of those weird times where, because there wasn't anything else to do, you're just looking at the news to see, when will this end, kind of thing, and then it'd constantly be getting worse, and you're like, it's probably not going to be 2 weeks, is it? It's probably it might not just be a month. It's going to be
2 months or whatever
2 months.
it was.
Yeah, crazy, absolutely crazy.
I think it was also the heartbreak that I felt when I realised, what Boris was doing behind everyone's back, sort of thing, still going out.
When that came out, pretty shocking. And also all the things that I mean, for my year of like friends, like my year was A levels, so we were going to be doing our A levels in May, June, but that never happened. And at the time, it was quite upsetting knowing that I wouldn't ever be going back to college. Like I said, see you later to my tutors in college, thinking, oh yeah, we'll be back in like 2 weeks, and I'll see you then, and we'll carry on. But that never happened. I don't think I just didn't step back into college after that, the day that they were like, oh, we're closing for 2 weeks, which is really wild. Because so many people that I just never saw again. Obviously, my friends, like, we stuck to it and we had Zoom calls and played Among Us. Those were the days. But yeah, it's wild to me that I know that there's probably work that I left behind at college that I just never saw again and just forgot about. And yeah, it's definitely weird.
You mentioned video games. Have you managed to play more of Call of Duty?
Oh, Call of Duty. Yes, I played more yesterday. I can't go into details about the campaign because...
I think I'm on the second to last mission, or the last mission.
Oh, fair. You're much further ahead than me. What did I just do? I just did the one where they went to the capital and did that whole like secret spy mission to break out the guy that was...
Adler.
Adler, from the underground bunker. I'm enjoying it, but I'm also like, this seems so unrealistic. You know, the fact that the Pantheon were in the US Capitol underground and they act like a massive army and they're just like shooting up right in the middle of the heart of America. It seems a bit crazy. But obviously I haven't made it to, I don't know, any explanation yet. So
it explains more as you go on. As it gets a bit more, what the fuck is this?
Right.
But I don't mean it in a bad way. I think it's actually probably one of my favourite campaigns of Call of Duty. Like, I probably place it so far second or third in my all-time list.
Okay.
Call
Then
of Duty
I shall
campaigns.
keep going with it. I'm enjoying the like spy-esque element of it, like the sneaking around.
Yeah, because that really is the Black Ops thing, isn't it? It's like, you know, you're not always gun. You know, it's not always run and gun. It's always you know, it's a little bit of sneaking around.
No, so I'm definitely. Well, that's something. Maybe it's a bad habit, but I definitely want to get into playing video games a bit more, not obsessively afterward, but having that 9 to 5, maybe dedicate a day to just be like, oh, I'll play, because like I bought my Xbox, the one I have now, during lockdown. I played it a bit, but after that I kind of fell off it. You know, I didn't play games that much. I guess because uni work and all of that couldn't really justify it. But it's a nice release. Like playing a bit of campaign and like getting to play a story, I think I've missed. Because campaigns I find no different to films really. It's just more interactive. Which like when we did the War and Visual Media module in film, being able to analyze a campaign like that was definitely a bit eye-opening. Just to like appreciate the game for more than it just being a game. It can actually be considered a story medium kind of thing. You know?
Yeah. What would you say is your favourite game?
My favourite game ever?
Yeah.
Battlefield 1. I think that was my first Battlefield game I played.
What a game to play for your first Battlefield as well.
I think, was it my first proper, like, I don't know how old I would have been, but my parents were very much like, oh, you're not having, like, GTA and things like that. So it was definitely above my age range, but I was given permission to play. And I got the beta for the weekend or whatever and played it. And I was just, like, hooked. I was like, whoa, this is sick. Just the concept of it being World War One, and my favourite map was definitely the desert map. And the fact that it was my first one, I was like, wow, this is brilliant. And then it was kind of downhill from that point, to be honest.
Yeah, you've definitely said that right. Do you remember the reveal trailer for Battlefield 1?
Yes.
It's like the remix.
White Stripes remix.
Yes, exactly.
Brilliant.
Exactly what I was
so
saying.
Good. Because there were multiple times that I just went back and listened to it. So, yeah, no, that's why I knew the one you're talking about, because brilliant. Such a good trailer.
I still get goosebumps like thinking about it and watching it, you know.
Yeah. It's a shame that the service just shut down, you know, once the new games had come out. Because I think in the last year, I put the disc back into my Xbox. I was like, oh, I'll try and play. There's no one around to play it. There's nobody playing it because there's been like 3 more since. So it's kind of a shame that games like that will never. I guess on PC, maybe more people are playing it, but in terms of like console gaming, I could not find a server that was full enough to have a decent game.
And if you find one on the consoles, I'm pretty sure it's always like hackers or like, you know, someone flying through the map sort of thing, you know, it's so goofy.
Yeah.
No, I do miss as they say, the good old days of like Battlefield and stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I had some good fun with friends playing that game. Yeah, I think that's definitely my favourite. Also had some good times playing Fortnite in the early days. Season 1 and 2, peak. And it's definitely dropped off. But it's still doing remarkably well.
Is it?
I think so. From what I see, like online.
What season is it on now?
God, they probably stopped counting. They must be on like 20, surely. But they got the cool like Lego maps and the integrations with Marvel, so they must be doing pretty decently. But yeah, no, Battlefield 1, definitely my favourite. What about you?
Halo 3.
Halo 3.
Yeah, that came out quite a while ago, but
I don't think I played it.
I played Halo 1 and 2 as a kid. It was my first ever game. I played Halo 1, and then playing Halo 3 with mates, and the campaign and the soundtrack, you know, and getting to go back to that a couple of years later with like, because you've got, what do they call it when they bring it back out for the later consoles?
Oh, not backwards compatible.
That's it,
Yeah.
exactly that, yeah. I did that with friends. We did a co-op, like, hardest difficulty like,
Nice.
together sort of thing, and
Very
you'd
pretty.
be up until like 4 o'clock in the morning doing it. Like, you may be raging and absolutely hating it, but
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
the laughs you get, like, looking back on it,
No,
you know.
just playing with friends was definitely the highlight. I think that's why I dropped off playing it, because there just wasn't as many people around to play. And there wasn't really a game like that people were all like raving about. That, I mean, my friends that I played with never into like FIFA or things like that. So, but like, I think the last game I played properly with friends was Fortnite. Until my parents said, "Oh, it's GCSEs, so you better take out your Xbox from your room and start revising." So, but yeah, no, good times.
It's got a lot of nostalgia when you talk about it, isn't there, really?
Oh, 100%. And sadly, there are people that I don't speak to at all really anymore, the friends that I used to play with. But we'll always have those memories of the games that we played in our first Fortnite team win and things like that. Yeah. I do miss those like late night just...
Because there's like a certain period for guys where it's like deep talk time. Do you know what I mean? This was like the last hour or 2 hours before you go to bed. It's like
Yeah.
you get really deep into your conversation and stuff. Like it's conversations that you don't normally have in like face-to-face interaction,
No, 100%.
do you?
It's like that whole thing, oh, men only like sports because it gives them an opportunity to like hang out with their male friends without feeling weird.
But it's true, isn't it?
But I've got a couple of friends. I've got a friend who just bought a Switch, which I didn't have the heart to tell him that a new one's about to come out. But he's enjoying it, so I might... I think there's online for Switch. I don't know what games you could play online, because it's not really that sort of console. You'd have more fun playing like Nintendo games in person, you know. But then I've got a couple who play Xbox as well, so I'll try and get back into the swing of playing that.
What will you play with them?
I've got my friend Leo. He's into Minecraft, and it's been I think it's been a whole decade since I played Minecraft. So I went online with him last week. I literally just spent the whole time destroying blocks while he built stuff. I was just going around collecting materials. I was like, oh, this is quite fun. But I completely forgotten what you can do in Minecraft, to be honest. I miss the days of my iPod Touch with my friends in like year 4 and 5 and 6, and we'd play Minecraft on that. Those Minecraft Pocket Edition. Good times.
Do you know what? We were talking about nostalgia just a minute ago. Do you ever watch like those nostalgia videos on YouTube, or like old Minecraft videos or anything like that? Because you have the soundtrack. Is it called? It's Sweden, isn't it? It's the one I'm thinking of. That's like really
Probably
nostalgic.
I don't. I probably should, because I probably would feel quite... I used to play it on Xbox 360 as well. That's when I'd play online. I got an old Xbox from my cousin when I I guess I would have been year 5. Oh, sorry, I'm going down a rabbit hole. But my friend in primary school once had one of those birthdays where they brought in like a gaming truck, and in the back of this truck was like PlayStation consoles, Xbox consoles, other things. You could just play like loads of different games in the back of like this RGB lit up like truck. Sounds really dodgy, but come on, kids, let's get in the back of this truck and play some games.
Some 60-year-old bald men or something just taking it.
I mean, it must have been a banging business model, because I guess you'd have to, I don't know, pay for the electricity and stuff, but I bet you could charge a lot for it. But,
Yeah, I never heard of that sort of thing.
well, I mean, it's just been your birthday, so it's too late now. But next year
For my
we'll
26th,
find
we'll
one.
do gaming truck.
But yeah, no, good times. What I do remember from Minecraft YouTube were the like song remixes.
Or like, is it Captain Sparkles? I think his name was.
Could be.
Are you talking about like actual music? Like, is it
They were
Dynamite?
like remake pop songs.
Yeah, like Dynamite.
Yes,
I think
oh,
playing
that, yeah,
TNT,
yeah.
didn't it? That's what I was thinking of.
Yes, no, they were good. In fact, I looked them up the other day and listened to them, just to see if they were as good as I remembered them being. Weren't really, but they were good times.
I think when you're a kid, you sort of think it's like the best song you've heard, don't you? Really, and then when you listen to it, you're like, actually, that is a bit shit, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, you're just at school just singing the Minecraft Dynamite remix going, oh, what a good song. It's like, oh, actually, no, that was never a good song. Oh, good times.
Yeah, especially you could spend hours on that game. You know,
Yeah.
I think for me, I like trolling my mates. You know, like putting a TNT block underneath,
Nice.
like an actual block, and then having like a pressure plate in front of their door. So like they'd walk through their door, and then just set off this TNT, and you hear them blow up.
I'm definitely going to do that to my friend. Because, I mean, he spent the day, like, he built this house, and I tried to help. It's like, no, that's the wrong style of wood. And I was like, oh, but that's fine. It's like, no. Deleted and made it right. So, yeah, I think he would never speak to me again if I blew up the house. But, you know, it's only a game.
It is only a
You
game.
can't be too mad. Gang Beasts is another one. I don't know if you played Gang Beasts.
That's the one where you throw each other around and stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
Still, I just spam the controls. He knows what he's doing. I'm just there like, yeah.
Hoping for the best.
Hoping I will throw someone off, but it tends to be me throwing myself off the roofs. But yeah, no. Good times.
Do you know what, when you say all this, man, it actually really makes me want to get an Xbox again and play it all. You know, I put mine away for reasons like, you know, I spent way too much time playing on it, sort of thing. But I hear this and I'm like, do you know what? I'm really tempted to just get another console and go back and play with the boys.
I think you should. Because, I mean, you're at the point now where you probably won't get addicted too much. You've got your routine, you've got your early nights, so you'll fit it in where you can. That's how I view it. And it's also a good, like, media console. That's where I just have all my Netflix and stuff, so it's plugged into my TV like that.
It can be quite expensive though to get games and stuff.
I
I know
would-
CD keys is that still a thing? CD keys? Do you know what CD keys was? It's like you could buy the digital version of a game
Yes.
for slightly cheaper than what the retailers were selling it for.
Uh,
Like you'd buy it, they send you a code, and you have
Yeah.
it downloaded digitally to your Xbox or your
Oh.
PlayStation, which was good because when you download a game or buy it digitally, you have that with your account forever.
yeah.
So say your Xbox breaks, you buy a new one, then you can just re-download it.
This is why I completely regret getting I got the Xbox Series S without the like disc section, but most of my games I bought on my previous Xbox were all the discs, and I thought, well, surely they know I've bought the game, so why would they not just let me download the digital version? Of course they wouldn't. Of course they wouldn't. And then I've now realised what a dumb mistake that was, because yes, it's cheaper in the short term to buy the digital only, but you can't buy second-hand games. So you can't go into like Game or CEX and get like a game for half price and you've got the disc and you can load it. You have to pay the full digital price, and there's never many sales. And even the old games are still like quite
£20 quid.
expensive, or the original price. So if you're going to get one with a disc drive. Because even though it's more expensive in the short term, it's much better value for money in the long term.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, do it. Get back into it. Give
I'll
yourself a
wait
bit
up.
of fun.
I'll wait up. Cause I need to get a new phone, and I want
True.
to see some more countries first, sort of thing.
Fair enough. Priorities.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and save up just more money as well.
Yeah.
Because
Well, we've got a job now. So
yeah, yeah, it's great, man. It is great.
Yeah. Oh dear. I don't think I'll be able to start saving until next year. I just have too many things to want to spend my money on.
Well, it's
But
Black Friday in a week's time.
that is very true, and we still won't have been paid. So
That's true. Well, no, I think it's actually Amazon is the 21st of November to like the 9th of December. I think
Is
it
it?
is.
oh,
So they do.
so we will be paid.
Yeah. And we get the extra pay that we didn't get paid for those 2
That's
or 3
so
weeks
true.
that we've
so
done
I can
already.
justify all my purchases.
Yeah.
Nice. Sounds good. Looking forward to it. Yeah, Freya's got her big list sorted already. I need to start making one. But I've been so used to being a poor uni student and not just spending things for the sake of like buying new shit that it's like, oh, I actually have money now to spend. I won't be spending my overdraft. What's going on? So yeah, but definitely looking forward to that first paycheck.
Yeah. You're just staring at each other now.
We are. How long have we been recording for?
An hour and a half.
Decent.
Yeah.
That's a decent length podcast.
Yeah, it goes on. It's one of those things, isn't it? You sort of just get into talking and you forget that you sort of, keeping track of time. But we've got a timer for another half an hour and then it finishes, doesn't it?
That's so true. Yeah, we did aim for 2. I guess we don't have to fill 2. But I'm just impressed we spoke for an hour and a half, to be honest. It's like, maybe I'm exposing myself. But when like you go on a date and you're like, what am I going to talk about? What if I don't have enough like conversation starters to like speak about? What if I'm really bad at small talk? It's like that stress,
Overthinking.
Yeah, overthinking. Because obviously you're going to find something to talk about, even if it's like the weather. But you don't want to be, I don't know.
You don't want it to be too shit of a conversation. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you don't want to force it. You want to have some sort of chemistry.
It's like when I was in secondary school and there was someone that I liked and I knew I would sit next to them in that class. I'd go into that day with like a list of things in my brain, like topics to talk about. But then I got there, I was like too nervous, so I never said anything.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so that's what I've done today. I've got a whole list and I've just been too nervous to talk to you. No, it's not. I'm glad I've grown out of that.
Do you still speak to your secondary school crush?
No.
No.
Don't think I ever spoke to my second. No. We went to different colleges and it just never worked out.
Life went that way, sort of thing.
Yeah, probably for the best, to be honest.
Yeah.
It is funny looking back on old crushes.
I was about to say that, but also it's also interesting to look back at people that you went to school with and what they're doing with their lives now.
I love talking on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
Yeah, seeing what people are doing.
So most of the people that I went to school with don't use LinkedIn.
Oh, really?
Quite weird.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I've not actually tried searching for many, to be honest with you, so that's probably, there
Make
probably
sure
is
you
more.
change the settings so they can't see you.
Yes, I actually did that recently, and before that, I'd always get told who's actually stalking me as well. It's quite
See,
weird.
that's the downside. I recently switched it to hide my name, but then I realised you don't get the privilege of seeing like the most recent 5 people that viewed yours. So I've gone for I won't stalk people and keep it public so that I can see the top 5 that have viewed. Because then you get to see all the weird people that look at your profiles.
Yeah, I feel bad for them because they probably don't know.
I wonder if they know.
Like they don't realise, and then it's that realisation that they've stalked you, and you can maybe sort of joke about it, and they don't know if you're being serious.
And there's definitely some questionable people that have been stalking my profiles lately.
Oh yeah, you told me before actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know what they would feel if they knew, but yeah, that's a weird one. But yeah, seeing what people are doing on LinkedIn is quite interesting.
Do you have any people that you went to school with that got kids now?
There's so many people in my school that have kids now, but not people that I was friends with. So not people that I personally knew.
Yeah, but people in your year group.
Yeah, I mean, there are people in my year group that had kids years ago, so their kids are probably like 5 now. So,
Damn.
yeah, no, probably 5.
But respect to them. I mean,
If it's what you want to do, that's
fair
fine.
enough.
Enjoy it.
I think it's too soon for me though. Do you know?
That's fair. First, you'd need a partner, so
That's a good point.
and that's a roast at me as well. So, was I going to say? Yeah, no. Did you not have many people in your school that had kids straight after?
Well, it's not. As soon as they turn 16, they will drop in.
17. Well, let's say 17. There was a girl in my sister's year who was in year 9 and was pregnant.
Year 9?
I think she had the child as well.
Well, you're like 13, 14, aren't you?
No, you're 13 in year 7, so I think you're about 15.
Oh.
Yeah. It was, yeah. I don't know if she, I guess she dropped, I don't know if she dropped out of.
I guess you'd like have like child benefits, and probably her parents
Yeah.
were probably there for her to help her, sort of thing. I'd hope anyway.
Yeah, I'd hope so too.
That's crazy.
But
15.
yeah, it's definitely very young. But yeah, I mean, life, yeah, people take life in many different directions.
Yeah, I think it goes back to that thing of Instagram and social media. That is, you don't need to like look at other people's lives and judge it by what you're doing. Do you know what I mean?
What, that there's so many people doing so many different things that.
Or hitting those milestones earlier on than
Right,
you are.
yes.
You know, and it's like, damn. What am I
Yeah, it's
doing
funny
myself?
looking at my friends who are in relationships going, yeah, you'll probably get married in like 4 years, which is wild. Or even sooner, who knows. Yeah, God, that'll be, yeah. If I get invited to a wedding of friends of the same age as me, I think that'd be pretty depressing if I'm single.
I've been very lucky. In a year, hopefully in September, my best mate's getting married, so I'm going to be a best man, which is insane.
No way.
Because we've been friends for such a long time. I remember when he actually was going to ask her out at his prom, to now fast forward 10 years.
From of secondary school?
Yeah, 2015. So he's a year above me, but we're
Okay.
friends from like, oh my God, what, primary school, the end of primary school.
Oh, cute.
So yeah, they've been together, 10 plus years. And
That's crazy.
yeah, I remember him even showing me the ring he's going to propose to her with, and then put it in our group chat.
That's the
with all
perfect best man story as well, being there from right at the start.
all the way to the end. So I'm trying to like figure out a speech for that.
Yes.
Which is insane.
That's exciting.
That's pressure, but I think that's good pressure. You know,
That's
it's an
nice
honor. I
pressure.
think it's probably one of the biggest honors of my life. I would say.
And everyone wants you to do well as well. It's like, you know, in like those presentation things, it's like, when I was younger, I was like, oh God, people are looking at me, people are judging me. But like, from like auditions and things like that, people just want you to do well.
It doesn't make sense for them to want you to fuck up, does it?
No,
really?
exactly. And if, say, you say something that's not that funny, people will chuckle anyway and make you feel better, and like, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Like everyone, yeah, it's going to be good. And that's a nice story. So he is 26.
Yeah, he's an old fart. He's also called Tom as well.
No
which
way.
is insane. Yeah. He's a great guy. A really lovely guy as well.
That's so. So did they go off to separate unis?
So I don't want to say that. Oh, so I said Tom's name. I won't say his
Yeah,
partner's
no.
name. But he went to college. Yeah, they went to school together. Graduated from secondary school in 2015. They both went to. She went to sixth form. He went to college. He did a couple of years at college. Then they actually both took a year out together and went travelling for like a year
Okay,
abroad.
yeah.
Not a year abroad, but yeah, basically a year abroad.
Gap year. Yeah.
Yeah. And she came back, did the uni, and they were still together. He was just working, saving up, sort of thing. And then then got jobs after the 3 years that she did. 3 or 4 years, I think it was, that she did. He went back to college for a year, and they went to working again. Now they're working together, live together.
Oh wow.
And obviously going to get married in hopefully a year's
Crazy.
time. So
Oh, that's what a great story. Having one partner go off to uni, I fear it's probably harder than both partners going off to uni. You know, because you have one person that's at home, like just doing the working life, and then you have one person living the student life, like drinking, going out and clubbing and meeting loads of new people. And like, I thought that was difficult when 2 people were doing it, but at least 2 people are having similar experiences just apart. But that's, yeah. Oh, I'm very happy.
they're both lovely. Honestly,
Yeah.
such lovely people as well.
That's so nice.
Really down to earth
So you
people.
say it's at the end of this year?
So September next year.
September next year.
Yeah.
Cute. You've got enough time to write a good speech.
Oh, I've got plenty of time. I've got no excuses. Have I? So, yeah.
Oh, very nice.
It's going back to the thing, though, isn't it? Milestones and life goals, sort of thing.
Yeah,
You know.
that is, definitely not on the horizon right now. But
Yeah, because it was me and a friend were talking about it. Like one day, one of us from our like guys friend group sort of things, and we pregnant, well, not them themselves, but they're going to start having a kid, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then it's the first domino before all of us start having it. You know what I mean? It's like
Yes.
realizing, like, holy shit, it's happening.
Yeah.
You know.
Would you say most of your friend group are in relationships?
Let me think. Do you know what? No, actually, 3 or 4 of them out of several more of them. So not actually that many, if you know what I mean. But that sort of goes into like a look on today's society and like how many young men are single, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like 60% or like something like 67%, which is crazy when you think about it.
I think it's, especially in relation to like years ago, like 40 years ago, people were getting married at like 21 and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a big mix now. Like, it's definitely not. I feel like there's more people going, oh, I'm single. It'll happen eventually, but I'm not like desperately looking.
Which is a good attitude, I think. I think
I
it's
think
it's
so.
good to be patient and proactive, but not like, always looking sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And even, I'd say my friend group's definitely mixed. There's definitely a few people in relationships, but not any that, are there some that have been really long term? I think there's maybe one that's been more than 2 years. But yeah, I can't see, it definitely still feels like at that early stage where I don't think anyone's thinking of getting married kind of thing.
Because you're 23 now, aren't you?
I'm 23.
Yeah.
They're about 23, 22, 21.
No,
So actually, I'm one of the oldest in the group, so it should be me really getting married.
Getting married.
But no, that won't be happening. But it's weird. Everyone's 20s are definitely a weird period of time where everyone's figuring out what they're doing, kind of thing.
And what to do with their lives.
Yeah. I guess work comes first before. Well, I guess it depends where you are. Because if I was still in my relationship that I was in, I think that would have come first before work. Which, looking back on it, terrible. It shouldn't have been. So I'm glad I'm in the position where I am now.
Because it allows you to have that freedom to then put your work first. And then
Yes,
when you find
the freedom
someone,
to find what you want to do with your life before then you find someone who matches what you want to do with your life. Whereas if I'd done it the other way around, it just would have put me on the back, well, both of us on the back foot of putting the relationship first above finding something that actually you really want to do. So it's definitely worked out. But I'm definitely happy that I've got this work milestone, and now there's just buying a kitchen bin milestone.
oh, that's the biggest. That's a life goal
That's my
right
biggest
there.
milestone that I'm aiming
Forget
for.
getting married, mate. You need to get that kitchen
I
bin.
need that nice kitchen bin. I still can't believe that John Lewis didn't have any, to be honest.
Have you tried IKEA?
I can't make it to IKEA. They will have some. But
Well, you could look online and potentially you could.
the trouble is, I wanted to,
Get the
see it in
experience.
action. I'm definitely 50.
Yeah, 15 to 23-year-old body.
Yeah. Oh well, I'll find one. If anyone has any suggestions for a kitchen bin, let me know. Yeah, no. Still need to get rid of that sofa first. That's on my...
What is wrong with it? Is it just shit and
It's
broken?
just a
or?
shit old cream leather falling apart sofa that is taking up space in my room. Now I've got my nice new blue material leather sofa. Not leather, IKEA sofa. It's nice. It's less comfy, but it looks more modern. So I'm taking that as a win. Because this other one, I have a picture of it somewhere, I'll show you after.
Put on the video as well, just to how.
Yeah, I'll upload it, yeah. There it is. Wow. That's a terrible
Do
look.
you know how funny it'd be if the camera angle is like, it hasn't even got that part of you like showing? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, anyway. Any milestones coming up for you?
Obviously, got the wedding. Does going to France count? Was that just more of like a little holiday
Is that your
thing?
first group holiday?
No, actually, I've not really done a group holiday. I've only gone to countries to either see one person at that time, sort of thing.
So that's a milestone.
Yeah, well, this isn't a group holiday
Oh,
either.
it was a group holiday.
No, this is still
no.
a single person I'm seeing.
Make it a group holiday, then it could be a milestone.
Oh, I feel like he probably wouldn't appreciate that. He's expecting just me to turn up at the airport and there's like 4 or 5 others of us. I think he might hate me, but I don't know about milestones per se.
You also started work, and you have a house.
That's true.
So
That's very true.
definitely. Yeah.
maybe just do some more countries, like see some other countries
That's
and
true.
stuff. I really want to do that. I think
Yeah.
it's pretty good that we have things like Skyscanner where you can look ahead of time
Yes.
to book a very cheap flight or
Cheap flight.
something.
Yeah, but that's something I never really thought about doing, but maybe I should. Because that'd be quite cool. It's never been one of my main priorities thinking, I really want to travel. And there's definitely countries I want to go to. But when people's personalities are like, I just want to travel and never stay still. Because I have a friend back at home who I swear is on holiday every other week. I cannot. He goes to some beautiful places, and I look and go, wow. So maybe I should.
Yeah, it's also being realistic. Do you have the resources, the money to do it?
Yeah,
Some
exactly.
people that do this have a lot of money behind them, don't they?
Yeah, he's freelancing his work, so he can go on holiday when he likes, which is nice. But yeah, it's also about having the money behind you to be able to justify doing that. I guess it's priorities as well. Maybe I prefer to spend my money on something else, like kitchen bins, rather than going on holiday.
Or just seeing your family at home.
Yeah,
getting
that's
train
true.
tickets back home.
That's money enough. Yeah.
Do you have any like grandparents or aunts, uncles that you see?
Yeah, my
as well?
grandparents and aunt, they all live back in Surrey, so back where I am, where my parents are. So everyone's quite collective. And then I have my dad's family, who are up near Nottingham. So yeah, when I go home, I can see my grandparents, because they used to live down in Mudderford, Bournemouth area, down south by the beach, and then they decided to move up nearer us, which was nice.
Yeah, I think that's good.
I think they're a little disappointed that I didn't hang around too long after I finished uni, because I was there for like a month and then came back here. But yeah, I'll be seeing them. I want them to come down here, to be honest. They were meant to come visit in my third year, but they never got around to it, so it'd be nice to show them around. Though we'll have to avoid all the hills. That's the only downside.
Yeah, you probably put them in a tomb or put them in a coffin. How steep these hills are.
Yeah, wheel them up. Especially if they come off at St David's and then try and walk up past
MP and then up straight up Thornhill, Cardack Hill as
yeah,
well.
no, I think that might finish them off. So might have to do an open bus tour or something.
Yeah. I only asked because I've we're talking about seeing our friends and like doing milestones and stuff, but also family. Like we had my cousin, she had an engagement party a couple of weeks ago before I started this job, and it was actually going to that and seeing my cousin that I grew up with. Like he has a birthday 4 days before mine.
Okay, yeah.
So we've grew up and we're both the same age and stuff. We've grown up very close, but like seeing our cousins and stuff have kids running around where we used to be those kids running around.
Yes.
And, falling over the floor and stuff, and it's crazy really to have that sort of thing. And it just goes to show you how quick time goes.
Yeah,
You know what I
definitely.
mean?
Like I've got a couple of friends who say they're an aunt and uncle. They're not related, these friends, but their cousins. Is that the case? No, their siblings have children. I was like, that's wild. I know I'm the older sibling, so it'd be weird if my sister, well, not weird, but you know what I mean. It's like, whoa.
Uncommon or
Yeah.
unusual to have it before you.
Their aunt and uncle, and I'm older than them. So, but yeah, no, I mean, my cousins have always been older than me. Or my cousins from my dad's side, they're like in their 40s, 50s. And so me and my sister, because my parents had kids much later, so we're within the same bracket of cousins. But also those cousins have had children for years. Some of them are like 15, and it's like we grew up with them, so they were more of our cousins. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that story, but yeah.
We're talking about family and just life goals, isn't it? As
Yeah,
well. And seeing
yeah.
how they've, not just your friends that goes for that as well, but it's also the people that you don't see that often.
Yeah,
and your
so
cousins
true.
and your family.
Yeah, I guess my cousins that are closer to my age, they're both in relationships, so maybe they'll be married. Who knows? Who knows where life goes?
Do you ever sit and ponder on how quick life goes sometimes?
All the time. I was doing it last night. In fact, I was listening to something that was like breaking down. It was a YouTube video that was breaking down how many actual days you actually have in life. Because it was a video, it was like, what happens if you only live for the weekends? And the guy was like, oh, in theory, if you enjoyed your job, you had 211,000 days of living to do if you live to a certain age, equating for the fact that you sleep through a third of your life. But then if you only live for the weekends, it's like only like 10,000 days or something ridiculous. I was like, wow, that's not many. I'm definitely misquoting, but
that's still like, I'm sure it's in that sort of range, but
yeah,
that's crazy.
crazy. So that made me happy that I had a job that I enjoyed doing. It's always been my goal to have a job that I enjoyed doing more than I was doing just for the money and the sake of living for the weekend. But yeah, life's too short.
It really is, man. It really is. I think it makes me more grateful for my family as well. You know,
Yeah.
like I was saying to you, I saw
100%.
my grandparents yesterday.
Yeah.
Man, I took that for granted when you're younger, like when you're a kid. You know, you
think
don't
about
give a
it.
shit.
They're
do you?
always
You
going to be
just-
there.
I just want to play video games, man. Like,
Yeah.
go away. Well, not go away, but like, you know,
But no,
I don't
I
want
know
to spend
exactly
as much
what
time
you
with
mean.
you.
Yeah.
But I got older, came to uni, you know, and sort of realised actually, damn, they're not going to be around forever, and you know, you
Yeah.
have to really appreciate it. I'd rather, you know, miss nights out and spend time with them.
100%.
You know, because I'm not going to regret missing those nights out, but I'm going to regret not spending time with them. You know, I think that's one of the biggest regrets that I'd like seeing. But let me go back a little bit. You watch these videos on YouTube of like people that are like in their 90s or like on their deathbed sort of thing, and they talk about their regrets and stuff. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's like not spending enough time with their loved ones, you know.
Yeah.
And it's sort of learning from them to not make those mistakes.
Yeah. But it's always, life's just difficult because there's, you know, if you don't do one thing for the other thing, I mean, aside from like nights out, there's always going to be that balance of like, how do you find a balance with your time? Like, who do you spend it with? Because you're always going to be not spending it with someone. Definitely as I've gotten older, I appreciate family way more. And I think that's just natural. You know, as a kid, you're like not even thinking about how short life is because you're like, oh my God, one day at school lasts forever. So, you know, life is going to be like feel like thousands of years. In fact, I saw a clip online yesterday of like funny moments, and it was a kid crying about, it was like a compilation of funny like kid moments, and this kid crying that they didn't want to die when they were 100 because they wanted to live longer. And it's like, that kid doesn't realize that they're probably not going to live to 100, and it's like, oh God, life is so depressing.
Why do you want to live at 100 as well? You know?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I think I've definitely come to appreciate my father more as well. I've got closer with him when I got older as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think as a teenager growing up, you definitely say things that you highly regret.
I hate you. That's the one I remember saying.
Yeah, no. And like the amount that they do for you, it's like, wow, like, thank you so much for everything you do, even though I was a massive twat sometimes.
Still are.
Still can be. Yeah, still can be. But yeah. And there's always, I think it's funny, as you get older, you always see the flaws in people a lot more, especially in your family. Like when you're younger, you're like, oh, not in the teenage years, because in the teenage years you're like, oh, screw you, you won't let me go out late at night. But it's like, when you're a kid, you're like, oh, they're perfect, like everything's right in the world. But when you're older, you recognize when they're a bit like, I don't know, maybe the way they do things is different to how you would do them, or they treat someone differently to how you would, or whatnot. And you look at them and you go, that's not ideal. But then you still love them and you appreciate them for what they are. Especially my grandparents getting older and maybe having some controversial opinions that I didn't realize they had when I was a kid.
Yeah, but I think that's, they say, what do they say that? It's a generation of their time, isn't it? Time of their generation,
Yeah.
something like that.
And as much as you go, oh, you can't say that now. So like, they never learn.
And what's yours of them changing? It's not really,
No.
you know, they.
But yeah, speaking about all of this, I definitely should book a train ticket home to see everyone, because that'd be nice. I'm going to have a phone call with my parents later.
What,
I'll
today?
try and- yeah.
Nice, man.
Yeah, my sister's always been a massive homebody, so she's been at uni for the past 3 years, and like she's having a good time. She definitely loves being at home and like being with mum. Like they're like really close, so she's definitely been homesick a lot of the time.
But did she see your dad's family in Notts as well? Because they live there, don't
Yeah,
they?
sometimes she's seen them a lot more than I have. I think I've seen in the past 3 years, I've probably seen them twice, whereas she's seen them quite more frequently. So that's nice. She has that like connection there. So she doesn't feel completely isolated from family, which is good. And yeah, my parents go visit maybe like once every 2 months or something, which is nice. And she'll come down every opportunity she gets. But yeah, I definitely should. Yeah, it's weird. Moving out, I was like, oh, like moving out to come do this job. I was like, oh, it's just like uni. I'll be gone, but I'll be back. Like it didn't feel like a really big like end of an era jump. But I guess in a way it sort of is, because I'm indefinitely paying rent currently for my flat, and it's mine, and I no longer live at home. But half my stuff is still at home, and I will be going back for Christmas, so it still feels like, I guess that will always be home. But I don't know, it's weird. I definitely know my parents must have felt a bit like, oh, he's leaving home kind of thing. But to me, it's still, because I guess we're working at the uni, I'm like, I still feel like I'm at uni kind of thing.
Yeah, you're still like, you're not really, you're more of a student with more responsibility.
Yeah.
In a way.
Definitely. And I think that's what I was thinking when I was like packing up and leaving. I wasn't like, oh, I'm moving out to start my whole new life, like not living at home. But I guess in a way it kind of is. I don't know. Weird.
It is.
Look at us growing up.
Yeah, it's nice, man. I think you need to sort of accept it. I think people need to, I'm not saying you, but I'm just saying in general, people need to accept they're going to get older. I think it's more of the fear of not doing enough of their lives. I think that's what some people get. I've had that, you know, like, oh shit, I'm turning older, not doing, what am I doing? Sort of thing, you know? But it's also that thing that realise that life is that thing of a month, nothing can happen for a month, but then everything can happen in one day. Yeah, it's like this, like the job, this interview for this job. I had the interview in the afternoon, and then in the evening I was playing video games with my best mate, and I got the job offer from John. Had called me. He said, I would like to offer you a job. And 10 minutes after that, I got asked to be the best man.
Oh, no way.
You know, so I'd always remember that as, you know,
a crazy day of news.
Exactly. But like, it was like that month before, I was just doing work as a labourer with my dad and brother, and it was the same sort of thing every week. And then all of that happens at the end and changes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, life can change within an instant. And I think that's why you've got to always remember to live currently rather than thinking about, oh, I need to do this in the future kind of thing.
And also just being patient as well.
Yeah, just not worrying about not having loads on, because something will come up, and, you know, everything happens for a reason. I still believe. I don't want to, I know that sounds like a bit airy-fairy, but definitely in the past, like, I've always felt like things just happen, and like that's just where your life takes you kind of thing. You know, like if I didn't make friends with the people I made friends with in first year, who knows what I'd be doing now kind of thing. Like it's so weird that one small decision can like completely affect like you in like 5 years' time.
No, that's a very good way of putting it. A friend that someone I became friends with in my first year of uni, they got me a job where I first met JP.
Oh, no way.
And then it was that job and then getting closer to John that I eventually found this place and this job.
Oh, brilliant.
Which is crazy. It all starts from that one first interaction that we had together at a cafe. I remember it, like a social for XTV.
Okay.
And then 3 years later, two and a bit years later, I've got a job from it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's like you don't forget that sort of thing. Yeah. And it goes on to what you were saying of it all happens for a reason. It's
the same like with when I first did lighting for the T3 show. If I hadn't sent that email to ask, oh, are you doing a workshop to teach lighting so I can do lighting for these shows? And if I didn't send an email later on going, if you ever have anything that needs doing, oh, that was it, in my third year. Because I spent the whole of the second year not doing any tech. And then I think in September, I emailed him going, hey, JP, looking forward to like the next year. Just want to say if you ever have any jobs that come up and need doing kind of thing, like I'm here. I didn't get a reply. And then in like October, he sent me about the assessment that needed lighting. And there's literally from that point, there's just like, you know, if I didn't send those emails or if I didn't like sign up to do tech in first year, I would not be sat here right now. And so many other things as well, like relationships and things like that. If things didn't work out the way they did, who knows where I'd be.
But you learn from them. You look back on them,
Yeah.
hopefully with gratitude. You know.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. And going back to the, like, talking about parents and things like that, it's like, it's so weird to think, oh, it's everyone's first time at living kind of thing. I think that's just something that came to mind. Like, everyone makes mistakes, even your parents, and that's just because no one really knows what they're doing anyway, because it's all just their first time. So, yeah, you just got to put yourself in the positions to be able to, I don't know. Oh, there's a quote. It's there was a talk with the musical theatre people that came in the other day. They're like, luck isn't just luck, it's putting yourself in a position to take advantage of it or whatnot. It's like, that's what you got to do, because who knows where it might take you. Yeah. It sounded more inspirational when they said it, but
No, it still sounds pretty good. You never know really where you can end up. You know, if you asked us in our gap year, would we end up here?
Yeah.
You know, graduate with what we got, and you know, going off to work for the uni. Would you have said that? I'd laugh in your face.
Definitely not. I couldn't tell you. It's weird. I have kind of like life blindness in that up until uni, up until starting uni, I could not picture what my life would look like at uni. And then same with like being at uni, I couldn't picture what my life would be like after. It's like, I'm trying to think what I'd want to do, but I literally have no idea, and it just kind of all falls into place kind of thing. Yeah, weird one.
It is, man. Francis, we've done 2 hours.
We made it.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Oh,
Absolutely crazy, man.
I'm impressed. I didn't think we could do that.
Mate, we absolutely smashed it, I think.
Brilliant.
For the first episode of this, it's going to be
Sounds
good.
good.
It's been great, man. Thank you for taking the time to come on, man.
No, thank
Much
you for having me. It's
appreciated
been
it.
really fun. Yeah.
Is there any social medias that you want people to follow you on, or you know, give yourself a shout out to anything that you want to do that you're doing?
Dear. One day I intend to have a social media that people can follow me on, but currently today I don't. But I appreciate the offer.
Nice, man. Well, when you do, let me know, and I'll put it in the description of the
Thank you
video.
very much. No, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Francis. Thank you, man.
Cheers.